Hello, everybody, and welcome to I was about to say the Foxborough Beatcast. Short
Thank
Pit,
you.
a NASCAR podcast. I am your host, Kaleb and Chris. Alongside me, as usual, my co-host, Chris. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself, sir?
Just dandy. We are writers for Belly Up Sports, primarily in NASCAR. We dabble other things, but we focus on NASCAR, and it was natural to have a podcast about it. We're running, how many weeks now? How many episodes?
Oh
Uh,
gosh, how many
a lot.
races in are we? Yeah, a
One,
few
two,
now.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Call it about 11 episodes because we did miss one or two. Call it about 10 or 11.
Yeah,
Uh, and yeah, we're almost halfway through the regular season, right?
yeah, halfway.
About halfway. And BR is with us as usual. BR, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right.
He's loving it, according to his shirt. We are down one co-host. Cam could not make it today, so the show goes on with the three of us. We'll have just as good of a time as we do with all of us, and we're gonna go from there. All right, boys, you ready? Let's talk about some Texas. It was a shit show.
Not much to talk about, right? I mean,
That's the
let's be
best way
honest.
I can put it. It was disaster. It was disaster for Denny Hamlin, who blew up on lap 73. It was disaster for Alex Bowman, who got caught up in an accident that wasn't his fault, and he should have been back there in the first place. AJ Allmendinger, Bubba Wallace caught up in an accident, the same accident, I
think
believe.
it was the same one.
Same.
Your pole sitter, Carson Hocevar, wrecked out. Or not wrecked out. He finished the race technically, but he did wreck. And Joey Logano is your winner. If you could have a shit show of a weekend, I think this is pretty much how I would draw it up.
You also forgot that Josh Berry wrecked while in the lead, just because he got out of the groove real quick.
Yep. Cars were wrecking out of nowhere. Pit road was a disaster, at least for my guy. I don't know about y'all. I don't even know where to begin, Chris. Can you help me out?
Yeah, I mean, you can start with the track itself if you want, but I mean, honestly, let's talk about it. What did we expect? This hasn't been a good product at Texas in a while. Like, I was hopeful. Like, I try to go into the race hopeful because this car provides normally a good race on a 1.5 mile, type of track, but it just hasn't, with Texas, whether it be the surface, the tires, the car, the drivers. I don't know what was going on, honestly, but it was just horrible. Whether a trillion restarts from cautions or long periods of follow the leader because you just couldn't pass. It just was not overall a good product. So, I mean, yeah.
BR, Texas.
Yeah, I had a hard time not falling asleep during this race. It was a real snooze fest, and I mean, I echo all what Chris said. It was a disaster from start to finish. It was a disaster all around.
I don't know if I would call it a snooze fest for me. I didn't have any problem keeping up with it, but just the stupidity of it all. Guys wrecking for getting out of a groove. Guys on pit road making stupid mistakes like Custer getting sent backwards into his own pit box by Byron leaving. It was a lot of stupid, a lot of yellows, which is, I feel like, better than like a Bristol that runs green but tires don't fall off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as a Talladega that went pretty much virtually caution free. It was it was interesting enough for me to watch, but I'm not foolish. I know that it was not a good race by any means. Chris, we've been saying since year one of our partnership, they gotta tear this shit down. Start over. I know that Texas is a strong NASCAR market, but do you think that there's any possibility that they can give this track the Atlanta treatment where they just burn it down, start all over, and make it one of the best tracks in NASCAR?
I mean, we might as well at this point. I think we've proven over the last couple of trips there that it's not getting any better. No matter what, whether, like I said, it's the track or the car, that's a different argument. But yeah, definitely think anything should be, in the works for Texas. If we're not going to go back and, rebuild Auto Club in California, let's take that money and divert it towards Texas and just tear it down and build a short track if that's what we have to do. But even then, I don't know that I want that. I think I'd rather have the Atlanta treatment at this point, because that provides at least an interesting race to watch for the most part.
The guy who owns Texas Motor Speedway, Mark Faber, Jeff Gluck asked him before the weekend on May 1st, because there were guys like Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain being like, yeah, this is a bad track, we need to fix it. Kyle Larson's pretty much said, I would like them to demolish this place and start over from scratch a few years ago. Now, Texas Motor Speedway Executive VP and General Manager Mark Faber is bullish about the upcoming race weekend. It's already happened. He writes, we're competitive, we're proud, and we think we have a lot of great things going on. We think we're a really good test in the first part of the year to see who can use it as a springboard to have a successful overall season. Trying to find out exactly where he brings up the Atlanta thing. We look at statistics and averages, and we've got stats that show the racing has gotten better year over year. From spring 11 to fall of 2016, 12 races before the repave, the average was 7 cautions, 21 lead changes, 2.312 second margin of victory. If you look at the 12 races since the repave, the average is 10 cautions, 22.3 lead changes, which is up from 21, and a 1.012 second margin of victory, which is an improvement from 2.312. So the racing has gotten better, and fans want to see exciting races. They want to see lead changes. They want to see close finishes. We're going to analyze this upcoming week and see how that fits in the averages. But he is pretty bullish on saying that the Atlanta stuff is just a rumor, and there's no interest in doing that. So yeah, how long does Texas have before NASCAR can finally react to? At least I feel like there'd be more open to reacting to us shitting on a track than shitting on the car itself, because the car itself is a problem, and we're going to keep shitting on it. That's just the way it goes. And as much as we think that the Atlanta treatment should happen, that article doesn't make me feel that's realistic, does it?
No, it doesn't. It feels like that it'll be NASCAR going to them and be like, yeah, change this or we're dropping you from the schedule.
Who owns Texas?
Is it? I'm pretty sure it's SMI, isn't it? I could be wrong, but let's see.
It is SMI. Yep.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it was SMI. I mean, but being SMI, they're not. I mean, they're not going to be hurting if you lose it. But I think it goes back into what you said, right? It's a big market for NASCAR. NASCAR doesn't want to pull out of Texas if they don't have to. I mean,
Coda's
they could go
awesome.
back to Coda.
Coda's worked out great. They need Texas Motor Speedway. They need the oval in Texas.
Yes.
And they need to fix it for sure.
Yeah. But
yeah. All the cautions. Chris, did you have a thought on that?
I mean, I think we've kind of echoed everything when it comes to that. It's just a combination. Now, we could go back into I think Dale Jr. I could be wrong, is a big advocate for what the surface of Texas is doing, right? It's wearing, he'll say, I've heard him say in past podcasts. So I don't know, with an advocate like that, you're going to see it. But at the same time, I think it might have something to do with that. That was something that was echoed a lot during the broadcast too by Fox.
I think you just need to make it a spot where the outside line isn't totally useless. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Give it another groove, whether you have to use, the PJ1 or whatever it is. We need reconfiguration again. God forbid that, because it didn't work out the last time. But I don't know. I'm with you. I think that kind of has to be the case.
All right. Some final thoughts of Texas before we give out our awards. Am I the only one with any personal gripes to get out before we give the awards, or does anybody else have a thought?
You guys shunned me for picking Reddick over Chase Elliott last week. I know he did finish better than Reddick, but it was still a mid-ass race again for Chase Elliott. Like, I don't know what's going on, so I want to get that out of the way. First
Where did
off,
he finish? 16th.
Garbage. Just mid-race. Like, I'm tired of seeing him finish 10th to 15th. I want to see better performances.
And Reddick finished P2 in the stages.
Yeah.
he finished 21st, but
yeah, I just don't know what's going on.
I mean, right now, Reddick and Elliott are two cheeks of the same ass right now.
Nowhere to be found and talked about as one of the best drivers in the sport.
Yeah.
Like week to week, other than like during stages. I think Reddick has been a little better consistently getting stage points.
Let me see. Reddick this year, 3 top 5s, 9 top 20s out of 11 races.
Chase hasn't finished outside the top 20, I don't think, yet. I could be wrong.
P2 at Daytona, P3 at Coda, P8 at Homestead, P4 at Darlington, and then there's a lot of mediocre.
Yep.
But you are right, Chris. He's had great points days. I still think Reddick is uber talented. He just needs to finish better. In comparison to what he's done so far, we've seen him finish well, consistently in the past. It just hasn't come this year, and I think it will eventually.
Probably this weekend. We're going to Kansas, where his team tends to dominate, but we'll get to that in a minute.
BR, any gripes from the weekend beyond the race just sucking and blowing?
I mean, I do, but they're not related to this podcast, to this topic right now.
If we're running a little short on topics, I'll come back to you. So keep that in mind.
Right.
My personal gripes. Number 1, Shane Van Gisbergen's pit crew. Get the fuck out of the way. They're pitting outside of their pit box consistently. They cannot leave an exit lane for my guy to save their fucking life. It drove me insane all fucking weekend. I couldn't believe it. That and it single-handedly pretty much ended his race because he lost 10 spots on the final pit stop and he ended up in the chaos that was the Bubba Gregson Dinger shit show that was at the beginning of stage 3. He finished that stage P3 because of the Butcher tire. He should have been up at least in the top 6, and he came out like 14th, and then it was just a massacre. So I am pretty upset with Shane Van Gisbergen's pit crew. If you're gonna be an asshole, and he had the last pit stall, so it wasn't really their fault that they picked him, that they pitted in front of my guy. Maybe if they weren't 2 seconds off the pace in qualifying, things could have been different.
Worse, 2 seconds worse than Cody Ware in Big 2025.
That's amazing. Like, watch him come out though in a road course, and he's gonna.
And guess what? He finished 22nd. Finished on the lead lap.
Yeah, low key SVG has been like one of the top like real disaster classes this year. Like they have not really been competitive at all, other than like Coda. Yeah,
their only top 10 was in Coda. The only other top 20 was at Darlington.
Yeah, so like obviously obviously he's new to the ovals, so I didn't expect it to be necessarily good, at least consistently. But good grief, like there's a big problem over there because they're not even competitive right now on ovals. I don't know whether it's the car, the driver, or whatever. They need to figure out whatever's going on and fix it fast because it has frankly been a disaster season for him.
If he comes out though and wins one or two of the remaining road course races, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, it's a success because he won 2 races." Just because the way the format's in, I mean, is set up, whether it be a road course later on in the year or one before the playoffs, regardless, I think that's what's the bad part about it.
I mean, yeah, and on that note, Logano has been frankly bad this year, and it doesn't matter anymore because he won this awful race.
Thanks, format. Now he's in the playoffs.
Woo!
I mean, he probably would have figured it out at some point eventually. I can't imagine he would have been this bad all year, but it doesn't even matter that they have been, he frankly had been easily like the third best Penske car most of the year.
And then fourth, if you want to count Josh Berry.
Yeah. Speaking of that, how on earth is Ryan Blaney the only Penske / Wood Brothers car to not have a win yet when he has lapped all of them? Yeah.
Now Joey Logano jumps up to 9th in the standings, right around Blaney, Wallace, Bowman. He's got 288 points so far on the year. I don't know where he was before that race, but
yeah,
he his high before that was a P8 at Martinsville, and before that a P12 at Atlanta. Otherwise, he's got an 18th average finish, which isn't horrible, but
for someone who's won 3 championships, it is.
Your defending champion shouldn't have a top 20 average finish, and everybody be like, it's not that bad. It's your defending champion. No, he should be a little better, I feel like.
Just 2 top 10s on the year.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, anybody else we want to throw under the bus?
Brad Keselowski. They're like outside the top 30 in points. What is going on there?
Brad Keselowski. Let me pull up the race from the weekend. He finished P28 at he wrecked. Wait, what? Yeah, he wrecked. P28 at his best track. But the season as a whole for Brad has been awful. Absolutely.
Whether it's luck or just that.
Not a single top 10. His closest P11 at Vegas.
The cars have shown speed too, so it makes you wonder if it's just literally is either bad luck or that decline you see in drivers as they get older.
You think Brad Keselowski's car has shown speed?
Well, I think not him. I feel like the team cars.
Oh, the team. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Priest and Buescher have been pretty awesome.
So, like, speed's in those cars, but it's just, I feel like Brad's performance isn't maybe up to par anymore with what it needs to be. Or, like I said, the bad luck just continues to happen for him.
I thought you said Brad's car is showing speed. I was be like, fucking when?
No.
Where?
Yeah, he fell off the power rankings a long time ago, but just for that reason.
I don't think Keselowski would even be capable of speeding in a school zone these days.
How many laps do you guys think he's led this year?
0.
You're correct. 0.
I was going
to
say
led 2 laps in the duels and at Daytona. That's it.
That's crazy.
Anything else?
Apparently, this is just shit on everyone day.
Okay. Yeah. It's like what's the? I forget the holiday in Seinfeld where they air their grievances around Christmas. I'll have to look that up because that's going to drive me insane now that I thought about it. Festivus. That's what it is. It's Festivus. We're going to air all of our grievances on this show because why not?
We're going to blame it on Cam not being here.
Yeah, I was about to say, apparently Cam was the one keeping the mood positive.
Yep.
Who would have thought?
I don't think even he would, respectfully.
Anybody else? Who else do we want to shit on?
Nah.
I'm good right now.
Yeah.
You're good right now?
Yeah, right now. We'll see if something
How about Chase Briscoe being absolutely fucking mid in that 19 car?
Yeah. That's a good one you could go down a rabbit hole with because I had a lot higher expectations for that car this year.
P4 at Bristol, P4 at Homestead, P4 at Daytona. Otherwise,
man,
he's led 29 laps this year. It's not enough.
Truex was carrying this team. I've been telling y'all.
It's got to be an adjustment. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it really is that different to move from a Ford to a Toyota, right? Like that would be the only obvious excuse you could have for him. And even then, I just don't know with these cars being kit cars like they are that it's really that big of an adjustment driving wise.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else in the field who's done that jump and made it work.
You could argue Kyle Busch did it when he left JGR, but Mickey Mouse won those at least one or two of those races that he won.
Yeah, and he went to a Chevy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sorted by Fords or Toyotas. Yeah, no great examples of guys going from Toyota to Ford or Ford to Toyota. So, Chase Elliott has been absolutely fucking mid this year.
Yep. Mid.
We're gonna have to put the expletive warning on this week again. Good grief.
Yeah.
Mid.
It was due. We needed it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
this one is not my fault this time. All right.
So, you remember that take I had in the preseason, Chris, where I said that Chase Elliott was going to be the fourth driver at Hendrick?
Yeah.
I think so far it's kind of panning out. I know Alex hasn't gotten the results all the time. He hasn't been able to coast into P16 like Chase Elliott does every week, but he shows legitimate speed. Every week.
I don't know how to explain it, but you're right. Honest to goodness. I mean, that's just the way it is. Alex has shown speed, top 10, top 5 speed. He's even got the pole and led laps at Bristol before.
And Homestead.
Yeah, and Homestead too.
Two tracks that he's not known for being really good at.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Before the wreck too, Texas is another track that he's not really known at being good at.
And he was slicing the field.
Oh yeah, he was. He could have very easily won that race if he didn't get caught up in that wreck.
If only Shane Van Gisbergen's pit crew could get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, I don't know. Chase is taking a dive on my power rankings too, which sucks as a Chase fan. So,
I'm just looking at like the season standings. I'm like, all right, who really deserves to get crapped on?
Hey, my driver is exempt from this. All right.
Bubba's been doing all right.
Yeah, he's been good.
He's hit or miss at a lot of spots.
Yeah,
but
he's been more consistent than Reddick this year.
He's been the best 2311 car, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finishes outside of the top 20, and 1, 2, 3 of them are accidents.
Yeah.
He's doing all right. I think he's not as aggressive as he was in past years, and that is taking a bit of a hit, but it might also be saving him in several instances.
Yeah, I mean,
what about Bell just pulling a William Byron and not showing up after winning 3 in a row?
3 races, right?
Yeah, just not showing up. Like I literally picked him in our, thinking, it's Christopher Bell. I'll at least get a top 10 maybe.
He got top 10. Those odds were probably minus like 1 or minus like 250.
Yeah.
He's been consistent mostly. He slumped in Vegas and Homestead. Homestead, he had the wreck. In Talladega, he wrecked because Denny Hamlin is a horrible teammate. But otherwise, in 11 races, he's finished in the top 10 in 7 of them.
Yeah, so he's just pulling a William Byron. He's not going to show up for the rest of the year, maybe till the playoffs.
Hey, who needs it? But yeah, Brad Keselowski being bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in points is unacceptable. We went over it, but it's unacceptable. He's below Ty Dillon.
If that keeps up, that has to be like a bottom 3 season from a former champion ever.
Who do they put in that car though? That's the thing, because Ford's doesn't. I mean, Sam Mayer.
Yeah, who's in the Ford camp coming up?
Sam Mayer.
Honestly, low key, Ryan Preece.
And then you put somebody else in the 60. Yeah.
Yeah, put someone else in the 60. I couldn't argue it. I'd argue he certainly earned a promotion with how he's performed this year.
Yeah.
Last one before I'll get to our terrorist of the week and our driver of the week. Is anybody else just kind of frustrated with Kyle Busch not ending up where he needs to be or where he should be?
Yes. as a longtime like fan of the sport, like you always want to see the legends go out like it with a way, like in a way, in their last couple of years. Like Jimmy Johnson's last couple of years just sucked to see. So like, yeah, it sucks. Like I hope that he turns it around and gets a couple more wins before he does call it quits. But yeah, it's disappointing to see because you know that he's still got it in him.
11 races. He has one top 5, and it was at Coda.
Maybe he's the one they put in the 6th. They're like, all right.
They did open that door in that Homestead.
Yeah, there you go.
In that Homestead trailer.
They got sponsorship for him, so you can't throw that up as an excuse anymore. They have Kroger, so
yeah.
And to build submarines.
Yeah, and build submarines. So.
And Kyle Busch will have driven all models of NASCAR.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's frustrating watching Kyle Busch go out there and just kind of forced to ho-hum it because that car is so garbage.
Yeah, and we're throwing extra resources into Jesse Love if you're Richard Childress because he got more races. Like, okay, are you basically telling the fans that you're giving up on Kyle and you're putting all your efforts into the Jesse Love train now? And if so, what's that say about Austin Hill? Because Austin Hill's been
he might be the next Justin Allgaier, which is just an Xfinity lifer.
He's been the ace in the hole for that team since Tyler Reddick left.
As far as points go, Kyle Busch has just 16 more than Austin Dillon, and Austin Dillon has one less top 5 and one less top 10, and they have the same amount of top 20s.
Yikes!
Pretty bad.
As far as average finish goes, I'm trying to see who has a better one. Busch has 17.8. Dillon's 18.1.
Clean the slate. Dillon goes into management. Dell Jr. comes on as a part owner. Childress, Earnhardt Racing. I don't know what you'd call it, but could you imagine? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, JEI Junior in. Oh, I messed that. That.
He'd have the 8. He'd have the rights to the 8 and the 3. I mean, it's everything Junior wants. It makes
Get the Bud sponsorship back in there.
There you go. Get the Bud sponsorship back in there.
And we just fixed Richard Childress Racing. Good job, guys.
Richard Racing is back in the prime spot.
Put Kyle Busch in the 3 car. See if that really makes people melt down.
Oh my God. It would.
No, Bubba Wallace in the 3 car.
Burn Rubba, praise Bubba, my friends. All right. I know that we can just throw this entire race under the bus as our terrorist of the week and driver of the week. Chris, I know I'm doing the script out of order. Bear with me.
You're good.
I did not miss our miscellaneous notes. But Cam put Texas Motor Speedway as a whole as your terrorist of the week. You're more than welcome to do that. I encourage you to go a little more focused, a little more specific. But if you have a rant that you want to just get off about Texas Motor Speedway, I'll let it go. With that being said, Chris, I'll go to you.
I'm going to go with Joey Logano because he wasted my whole Sunday. I mean, like, I watched the race just for him to win another one at the end of the day that I don't know why I'm surprised. It's Joey Logano. This is what he does. But, yeah, he's my terrorist of the week for ruining my Sunday.
Good pick. BR?
I gotta keep this NASCAR related. I almost said Cale McCarr's stick. But anyways, yeah, I'll chicken out and I'll agree with Chris, Joey Logano, for making this Sunday, a waste of 3 hours.
And my terrorist of the week, Chris, could you guys get an idea of who's my terrorist of the week this week?
No.
No, it wasn't that obvious.
No, it wasn't that obvious. Couldn't guess.
Shane Van Gisbergen's pit crew.
Wow.
Shit on that. Dang.
Fuck them. Get your shit together. Or give back the 88 number.
Yep. There we go.
Give it back.
You can't have it no more.
Yeah.
Honestly, I miss 88 Bowman. Those paint schemes were cool.
That's when Junior still had a say in things too, I feel like.
Yeah, he said that when Kyle Larson came back from that suspension, is what somebody told me. When Kyle Larson was coming to Hendrick, they were going to have Bowman switch over to Ally anyway with that 48 team. And they were going to have Kyle Larson just come in with that 88. And Junior said, no fucking way. Because of the Game Award thing.
Yeah.
So they gave him, Casey Kane's 5.
Yep.
Which belonged to somebody else. But that's Casey Kane's 5 to me, damn it.
Agreed.
But yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen's pit crew. That's my terrace for the week. Driver of the week. BR, I'll go to you.
I want to give it to Legacy as a whole, but I will be more specific and say John Hunter Nemechek. He started like 28th, 29th, ended up into a very rare top 10 for him. But Legacy as a whole, both their drivers top 8. That was by far their best performance of the season. So yeah, to be more specific, I'll say John Hunter Nemechek, but really Legacy as a whole.
Chris?
I can build off that and go with his teammate, actually. Eric Jones was my pick. So stage 1 points and then a top 5 finish. But yeah, I almost went with John Hunter for the same reasons that BR did. You just haven't seen that kind of performance out of Legacy or either really of those drivers. I mean, Eric Jones more so than John Hunter, but even then, I just don't feel like it's been a super overall strong year.
I'm going to give mine to Carson Hocevar. Even if he had the bad finish, he won the pole, finished P6 in both the stages. Thought it was a really impressive drive by him. Didn't get the result that he deserved for his weekend. But really impressive drive by him. Hopefully he can keep building off of that. And that 77 car looks really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. McDowell even had a chance there late too. I mean, Justin Haley's just not looked. He just looks worse and worse since he's came back to Spire. I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a tough go for Justin Haley. Maybe he wasn't all that good in the first place. Some people are wondering. All right, miscellaneous stuff before we get into Kansas, which we all expect to be the best race on the docket so far. Tony Stewart had some thoughts on the Daytona 500. Did you guys hear about this?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've opened the wrong article. Okay, here we go. Tony Stewart says, even though I don't... Okay, no, I skipped the end. Tony Stewart says anyone can win the Daytona 500. When it comes to Daytona now, and man, I'm going to get crucified by a lot of people for this. In my eyes, it doesn't mean the same now as it did 15, 20 years ago. Stewart continues, anybody can win. I mean, you look at some of the guys that have won the Daytona 500. I don't want to get into the list of guys because they're guys that I do respect and have friendships with, but they're not guys that should have won the Daytona 500. And they've won the Daytona 500, and that's all they've won. They may have won 1 or 2 other races outside of that. I won 49 Cup races. Jeff Gordon won 93. Richard Petty won 200. Anybody in the field can win the Daytona 500. Despite saying that, Tony Stewart says he wouldn't trade his any of his championships for a Daytona 500 or anything like that. Even though I don't feel like it carries as much weight as it used to, it still carries the weight because it's the Daytona 500. It's still a marquee event on the NASCAR schedule. It still has that rich history, but the cars have got so equal. And you look at guys who are winning some of these, they're not the ones that lead the most laps. They're not the ones up front. They were the guys that were second and third or fourth when the last crash happened, and NASCAR hit the button to freeze the field. So Tony Stewart says Daytona 500 does not mean as much as it used to. Now, I had this conversation with a friend, and I was going to get into what we talked about because he actually disagrees with Tony Stewart as a Tony Stewart fan. So while I pull that up, Chris, you are the most tenured fan in the building. What do you make of Tony Stewart's comments?
I don't think he's wrong. Not completely anyway. I mean, Cam and me have touched on it before on this show too, and we've all kind of talked about it. Anybody really can win those races. I mean, it's just exactly like Tony said. It's survive until the end because the cars are so equal. You can't make moves like the drivers, prior in prior generations of cars, even in Smoke's prime, you would see like Junior, who can make a move. He could come through the field, and just at a whim, showing the skill. You don't see that anymore at Daytona. You see survival, and that's really it. So I can definitely see the point, right? It doesn't hold like maybe the value that it used to, but it is still a crown jewel event. Like you said, it's like a Coke 600. It's a Southern 500 type of event. So it does hold that, but it definitely isn't as big as maybe it was when Stewart was in his prime. 20 years of trying for Earnhardt was a big thing, right? You don't have that anymore because you see people like Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, win a race that when they probably just lucked into it. They weren't necessarily the best. They were just there at the end.
BR?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Chris. I mean, I don't really have any real disagreements with what Tony Stewart said. It's obviously it's always gonna mean something because it's the Daytona 500, but yeah, it really doesn't feel like it's treated. I don't know what the right word is. It's not treated as big of a deal these days from the older fans, because obviously I'm more of a newer fan, so I wasn't really watching it in Stewart's prime and so on and so forth. But yeah,
I was right there with you.
I can't.
But my friend, who is a Tony Stewart fan, he says I don't think it's as bad as he's making it seem. And I'm sorry if I'm reading this verbatim because I am. The last 7 Daytona 500 winners: William Byron, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Austin Cindric, Michael McDowell, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon. 4 of those 6 winners are not even sniffing the other 2. Never mind guys like Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, who came before them. For McDowell, his only other win is the Indy Road Course. For Cindric, just Talladega recently, and Gateway, where he only won because Blaney ran out of gas in the final lap. Stenhouse, he's only won at Daytona or Talladega, and he's not good literally anywhere else. And for Dillon, we all know basically all of his wins are Mickey Mouse's shit, especially since he wrecked somebody for his Daytona 500 win. Never mind the shit he did at Richmond. That costed him his playoff spot. And then he says, it's been going on for at least 20 years, though. It's not like this is a new thing. So then I went through the Daytona 500 winners for like the 11 years before that. I would disagree strongly. There aren't many major outliers here, like the list that are in that game. They're the list that I gave. The 3 I singled out were Trevor Bayne, Ward Burton, and Michael Waltrip. And here's what I got on them. Burton has 5 wins and an average finish of 22.8. Trevor Bayne, you got me. His 1 career win was the Daytona 500. Michael Waltrip, all 4 wins are at super speedways, but 133 top 10s and an average finish of 21.9. So Bayne might have been a hack, but that's 1 hack and a lump of awesome. And now in the last 7 Daytona 500s, we have 2 drivers who are good and a lump of hacks. And that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah,
just look at the names and look at the winners.
Absolutely. You could even break that down a little further, though, too. To kind of go back into like Stewart said, look at Byron's wins. Yeah, he's a repeat winner. Well,
I apologize, everyone. I my bad. Sorry.
He heard William Byron and he crashed out.
threw the camera down.
No, but yeah, I mean William Byron. Some could argue like he lucked into both his wins because of the push of a button.
Bowman was the real 2024 Daytona 500 winner. Don't get it twisted.
If we race back to the line, probably. So yeah, I can definitely agree with you in that sense, right? Like I don't think you don't even see Denny up there winning them, like you said. He's been a big like advocate that it's not the same. Like racing's not the same. That a Earnhardt or a Junior wouldn't be able to survive with this type of car because it is so shut off. So whether it's the car, the racing product, or just the playoff format, you could argue even because it kind of just takes it and puts it in another race category. Because if you win it, you're locked into the playoffs, and that's all anybody cares about now: winning and getting locked into the playoffs.
I'm sure this will be a topic next week or the week after when we talk All-Star race and whatnot. But the conversation about the playoff format really interests me. I was listening to Junior's podcast last week, and he said have the whole season be the playoffs, and after a certain amount of races, you eliminate the bottom guys. and just kind of that's kind of a season-long championship, but at the same time, you have that interest of somebody could get eliminated. Say we're halfway through right now. Say the first cutoff is after Homestead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 races. And then you cut off the bottom, say, 4. I feel like that could be really interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably the best idea I've heard, honestly.
I'm up, honestly, to hear new ideas. I hope that it can't be just as simple as win and you're in, right? Win and move on. There has to be something more to it. Like, I would be down for that, honestly.
I think his idea was using points to determine that bottom 4. Like, if you win Daytona 500, cool. That's just a nice little boost to get you through the rest of the way, but that doesn't guarantee you anything. If you wreck the next 4 races, you're done.
Yeah, that would be fair enough. I could get behind that, because then you don't see someone like a Joey Logano, who's been statistically horrible, maybe
win when he has to, right?
Win when he has to. He has to be consistently winning. I saw, now I know this is kind of like beating a dead horse. All of the old fans will say it. Go back to the Winston formula. Like,
I think this is pretty close to that.
That's close. It's very similar, right? Like, that
would still have the interest of an elimination race.
Exactly, right. Like, I saw points, like someone I follow on Facebook, I think, does Winston format points. It would put someone like Chase Elliott in 6th because of his consistency. Like, okay, give me that. That's fine. He's been consistently enough finish-wise that he's in the top 10. Okay, but he's not down the line going to be there if he keeps up with that consistency. He's going to have to win to move up those points. So it gives them like motivation, and it makes it a little more interesting for the fans. So yeah, I'm down with that.
I just wanted to bring up Junior's idea because I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. BR, anything else before we jump into Kansas?
No.
Sweet. All right. Time for our DraftKings Sportsbook segment, where we go through DraftKings and go over matchups and try to get you some money. The first matchup from Kansas, I forget what this race is called. Like, what's the sponsor of it? Is it still that casino?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not for sure yet, honestly.
NASCAR's website says, I want the schedule, not who won last week. Get Joey Logano's stupid face out of my face, please.
Yeah.
It's the Advent Health 400.
Yeah, well.
267 laps, 400.5 miles. Coverage starts at 3 o'clock. Probably green flag is a little like 3:15 on Sunday. Hopefully no rain. The one of the last races there on FS1. We got to get through the next 2 weeks, and then we're on prime for the Coke 600. But all right, the first matchup for the Advent Health 400 is William Byron versus Ryan Blaney.
I'm gonna take Blaney. I feel like he really
dangerous game you're playing there, buddy.
Yeah, I know. He really is due one, though. I thought it might have came last week, but I'm going to go with Blaney again, even though I'm pretty sure, yeah. No, he's actually got a little bit better average than Byron, or actually it's tied, so 10.8.
Yeah, they got pretty close stats.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So I'm just going to roll with Blaney for the fact that he's due one this week. Maybe he breaks the bad luck streak.
BR?
I'll believe Blaney breaks the bad luck when I see it. Could be Byron.
I am with you, Byron, as well. Where's my DraftKings tab? There it is. Kyle Busch versus Chris Buescher. I'm taking Buescher.
I'm taking Buescher.
Yeah, Buescher.
The stats say they're pretty identical. Kyle Busch has a couple more top 10s than Buescher. But
I feel like Buescher's going to be motivated.
Yeah, I'm with Buescher, absolutely. Christopher Bell versus Denny Hamlin.
Hamlin.
You
can get Bell on this matchup plus money.
Yeah, I'll probably take Bell. I feel like he's been consistent. We touched on the stats earlier, so he's been consistent, but I don't know.
Denny's got the best average finish here in the last 6 races. Has never finished outside the top 10.
Dang.
I'm going to take Denny. Joey Logano versus Chase Elliott.
I'm not picking Joey Logano. Not even the fact that it's Chase Elliott as his opponent. Just the fact that I just have a disdain for Joey Logano. So
you're still letting your personal
your
personal issues overtake you.
I am, absolutely.
I guess
I'll take Elliott. His average is better. Like his consistency here is better. Logano's kind of up and down.
Yeah, I guess I'll take Elliott.
All right, we got a short pit civil war here. Bubba Wallace versus Alex Bowman. I'm taking Alex. There's only one driver that's better than him as far as average finish goes here, and it's Denny. He's tied with Larson. Bowman's riding 5 straight top 10s here. P6, P7, P10, P4, P9. He led 107 laps here in the fall of 2022. Won a stage here last fall.
Can we see who's pitting in front of him after practice?
Yes, that is crucial information. But I'm taking Alex here. No disrespect to Bubba. I think this is pretty close, and so does the book. It says Bubba Wallace is -120, Bowman's -110. They're right next to each other, but I'm gonna ride with my guy here. He's been fast all year when he's got it cracking.
Yeah, I'll take my guy, Bubba.
I'm gonna go with the HMS teammate there, but also just because of the things you said, Caleb. I feel like he's good here. This is a good track for him. As long as he isn't pitting behind SVG this weekend, I think we'll be okay.
Maybe this will be the spot where he finally gets a fucking win. All right, last one. Ross Chastain versus Tyler Reddick. Ross is plus money. He won here in the fall.
Give me Ross just for the fact that he has won here in the fall. Or he did win here in the fall. They haven't had speed, but I don't know.
I'll take Ross too, I guess.
Tyler Reddick won here in 2023, but last year, P20 and P25.
It's horrible.
Not great.
No. Not for a 2311 car at Kansas.
I'll take Ross as well, and that's plus money there. So, parlay this and see what happens. Blaney, if you just go with my picks of Blaney, Busher, Hamlin, Elliott, Bowman, Ross, and you put down $10, you'll win $463.
I like it. Solid options.
So there you go. Alrighty. Now, expectations for Kansas, Chris?
Gonna say good racing.
You said good racing?
Yeah, good racing.
I thought you said Gregson. I'm like, whoa.
No, good racing. Moves being made all over the track. Stuff we're used to with Kansas. That's what I hope to see anyway. But if you're looking for my pick, I'm gonna go actually with Ross Chastain. I've got Ross because last 6 races, 4 of them were top 10 finishes, including the one win last September. And then he finished second at Texas out of nowhere. So I'm going to say he builds off of it this weekend. That's why I'm going with Ross.
BR?
I will. Yeah, why not? We'll take Bubba Wallace. This is one of his better tracks. He's had a good year. Feels he might be due for a real breakout performance. Time to be a homer, and I'll say Bubba Wallace.
All right. Looking at the average finishes, obviously, Hamlin is the first one. Never finished outside of the top 10 here. Has only finished outside of the top 5 once. Larson's really good here. He obviously had the epic finish with Busher at the end. Busher is an interesting pick as well. You can get Busher at plus 2,200. Very
debated on Busher, honestly, myself.
You picked first this week in the picks there, Chris. That might be That might be a get for you. You know what, BR? I'm gonna follow in your footsteps of being a homer. I'll take my guy Alex. Time to get one. Absolutely time to get one. It's an intermediate. He's been awesome here. He just needs to be there at the end and bring what you had at Homestead, bring what you had at Texas, and really put belt to ass here because I know he can do it. So I'll take Alex.
Cam said he was picking Reddick.
Yep. Totally forgot to go over Cam's pick. His terrorist of the week was Texas Motor Speedway, and his driver of the week was Joey Logano. Totally forgot about that. I was just kind of breezing through the script, and we obviously got off tangent.
Did we not talk about Homestead getting the championship?
Shit! All right, close the show with that. Texas, Homestead is the championship race for 2026. It was the worst kept secret in all of NASCAR. We knew that this was something that they were looking into, something that was probably going to happen. I don't know if there's any further confirmation that this is going to be like a rotating thing where it's Vegas.
They did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They didn't announce. They didn't announce what the other tracks in the rotation what they would be. Just that it's going to be a rotation.
Yeah, something along the lines. Maybe if you might find the tweet before I say it, but following with NASCAR's like biggest, most important markets, things like that. Something along the lines of how they're going to determine the rotation is what I saw something earlier. But they are confirming a rotating type of thing.
Oh goodness! You said biggest market. I just got a vision of a Texas championship.
No, I hope not. God, I hope not.
NASCAR makes it official finale to rotate year to year. Homestead to host 2026. Phoenix is in the rotation, and other tracks are TBD. Playoff format TBD. No spring race at Homestead, although I would be perfectly fine with 2 races at Homestead a year.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Not at the cost of my home track, but you know.
As someone who's that's not his home track, I'm more than willing to sacrifice it.
I'm out. I don't want to travel to Watkins Glen to get to my one NASCAR race a year.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a drive, I'm sure.
We can get rid of Texas and keep New Hampshire. I'm happy with that.
I won't lie. When I said that, I forgot that Loudon's only down to 1 date now.
Yeah, it's been like that for a while. It's just moved into the playoffs.
We can just take the Roval off the schedule. Race
yes, that is the move. We boot the Roval and either give Charlotte 2 dates on the oval. We can move that around.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm tired of the Roval. Even though Chase was good there the first couple of years, I'm tired of the Roval.
I have a personal gripe against the Roval.
You have a personal gripe against just about everything. Respect that. Anything that doesn't go Alex's way, you seem to have a personal gripe. With all due respect,
I don't have a gripe with New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and that's a cursed track for him. But I do have a personal gripe against SVG's pit crew. I do have a personal gripe against that stupid fucking curb on the Roval. What else? I'm sure I'll come up with it. But yeah, I imagine that the last track will probably be Vegas. That feels like a slam dunk.
Yeah.
You'd have to think
really well there.
Yeah, you'd want to keep it in warm weather for a finale. I don't think you can't really go any north of Atlanta November and expect it to be warm weather. So not on the East Coast anyway. The weather would be too wishy-washy for a finale.
The finale at New Hampshire and there's a blizzard coming. Put some snow tires on that bitch. We'll figure it out. But all right. Good show, fellas. Chris, what do we got this week?
If me and the wife can come up with more topics for our podcast, we'll have that. And then power rankings, hopefully tomorrow or Thursday, and then our picks piece later on this week.
You have the first pick, and I think I know where you're gonna go with it.
Yeah, maybe.
BR, thanks for coming on as usual.
Yep.
Yeah, this has been I gotta do something real quick. So I start my new job on Monday. It's going to be a little chaotic. I may not be here next week. I may not be here the next 2 weeks. I move into my apartment at the end of May. We'll figure out if we get a show done, if we get it in. I have some ideas that we'll go over, but fair warning, fair heads up. Want to let the people know. Thank you for watching Short Pit. Make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Ignore that it says X on Chris's. We call it Twitter around here.
Yep.
And we'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. I didn't set an outro video. Okay, that was dumb. Here we go.
More editing.
We'll see you later.